Welcome back. We are here for MBT point 2, and our I can statements will be I can skip count by to 1,000 by 5, 10, and 100. Now, when we're skip counting by 5, 10s, and 100, what we have to realize is it's mainly adding, and if you need to, you can just add each one. We're going to take a look at what will usually brings the most trouble when we're doing this, and what more appropriate thing than the game trouble. So if we have this, we're going to pop our little ball, and basically when we're doing this, all we're doing is skip counting. So we start here and we say 1, 2, 3. We started at start, we go 1, 2, 3. The main thing that you will have trouble with when you start doing this is if you are counting the one that you start with. It's not 1, 2, 3. You always start with the one after where you started. So if you're on 1, it's 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3. You're 3 away from where you started. Now, we're going to start with 5s. And I know the easy thing to do is start 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30, 35, 40, but that's way too easy. Way too easy. And we know that we all can do that. We've been doing it since kindergarten, but now we have to start with different numbers that are off the 5s. So each one of these you can see is plus 5. So when we're doing this, when we start 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, and then 21. That's 1, 2, 3, 4, and the 5th one is 21. So when we're starting on this, what we're going to do is we're going to count 5 each time. So be 21. Remember, we don't start with 21. So the next one that we're going to start with is 22, 23, 24, 25, 26. Now let's go back and count. That's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. If you need to write it out, then you can write it out. It is all right. That's what all the paper here is for. So if we're skip counting, starting with 21 and going by 5s, it's going to be 26. Let's do one more with the 5s. We start with 26. We have 27, 28, 29, 30, then 31 is our 5th one. So we're counting by 5s. So skip counting by 5s, starting with 26, will be 31. If you notice in our place values, in the 1s place, it's going to be going by this because 2 5s equals 10. And the same thing here. If you notice our 10s, it went up 1 after we had 5 and 5 equals 10. Let's move on to adding 10s. When we're counting by 10s, it's the exact same thing. We've all know how to count 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, 70, 80, 90, 100. We could go on and on, but when we are off the 0 and have a different number in the 1s place, it becomes a little different. If you notice, the only one that's changing is the 10s place because we are actually adding 1 10 each time. So counting off the 10s, be 12, 22, and then if you need to, all you need to do is add it up. 2 plus 1, 32, it'd be 32. Or if you need to count 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 28, 6, 29, 7, 30 would be the 8th one, 31, 9, 32, the 10th one. So 22, there is 32. Like we said, the 10th number, 32. And if you notice, what is the only place value that changed when we're adding 10? Is the tens place. The ones does not change because in the ones place with 10 is a 0. Once we've done this, we can start going, and it really gets different when we start counting off the decade and have to change. Now, let's take a look at this. When we have 167, goes 177, we add it, it changes a 10, so it'll be 187, 10's changed, and it goes 197, and if you're going to have trouble, it's going to be on the next one right here. Does anybody know why? Now, the reason it is there's actually 19 tens, and we talked about the place values being selfish. When a place value is selfish, you can only have one in each place value. And if we're going to add 10, the number cannot be 1, 10, 7 because there's no number in the thousands place. So that one kicks it over to here, and you have to regroup. So, what is the number after 19? 20. But we also have to have our ones. So, what number goes in the ones? And each time there's a 7, 7, 7, 7. So this will be 7. And if you look here, there's 16 tens, 17 tens, 18 tens, 19 tens. Now there's 20 tens. So how many tens will be in the next one? 21 tens. But you also have to remember, you have to have the ones place. So 7. And each time, if you need to, you can also just add it. So if you need to, you can have 197 plus 10. You have 7 plus 0, and you need to make sure you line them up in the place values. 7 plus 0 is 7. 9 plus 1 is 10. Remember, only one in the place value, so that's going to be carried over to the hundreds place. So then you have 1 plus 1 is 2. Once again, there are 20 tens in 207. Once we go over the fives and the tens, you can practice going up to the hundreds. The hundreds are the same thing. If we have the hundreds here, we would change the 1. Because we have the ones, tens, and then the hundreds. Let's make these go into the hundreds. Show us how to do these. So each time, it's going to be 1. Tens place and the ones place are going to stay the same. So we're going to have plus 100. So we have plus 100. Ones place stays the same. 6. 0 plus 0 in the tens. 0. 1 plus 100 equals 2. So our next would be 206. If we're going to add 100 to this, the same thing. Ones place does not change. Tens place does not change. And the hundreds place changes by 1. And it changes there. Hope this made it a little bit easier. We'll talk about more. Once you get advanced, we'll start doing 2s, 3s, 4s. It's a lot different than counting by ones, but if you stay with it, you'll get it.